Hi friends, welcome back to 5 Minute Moderns, where in 5 minutes or less, we learn about an important artist, artwork, or concept in the history of modern art. My name is Cindy, and today we're learning about one of my personal favorites, Joseph Beuys. When we talk about art, people tend to have a pretty specific idea of what art is. As Jack Donaghy famously said in 30 Rock, we know what art is. It's pictures of horses. But truthfully, I think a lot of us think about art in much the same way as Jack Donaghy. We think art has to be a painting or a photo or a sculpture. German artist Joseph Beuys broke through those expectations with his work, expanding the idea of what it means to make art and what it means to be creative. Beuys famously declared, "Everyone is an artist." Now, he didn't mean to imply that everyone ought to be a painter or a sculptor, but rather that every person has creative gifts necessary for the flourishing of society, no matter what those creative gifts are. And he felt that art shouldn't be something kept untouched behind glass in a museum, but rather should be infused into our daily lives. For Beuys, the most important artwork was the act of creating a better world for everyone to live in. Activism itself was an art form. Consequently, Beuys developed works that he called social sculptures, where a group of people collaborated on an action to improve the world. Beuys unveiled one of these social sculptures at the 1977 Documenta Arts Festival in Kassel, Germany. In one of the festival galleries, Beuys created the Free International University, an educational space in which people could attend free lectures on social and environmental justice. And environmental actions would be especially meaningful to Beuys. Earlier in his career, he created some unique and sometimes strange performance pieces. In 1965, for example, he performed How to Explain Pictures to a Dead Hare, in which he covered his head in honey and gold leaf and walked with a dead rabbit through his solo exhibition at Galerie Schmele in Dusseldorf. Bizarre though it may seem, in this piece, Beuys was trying to evoke shamanistic practices to engage with the spiritual and animal world from which people were growing increasingly distant in modern society. But as his career progressed, he stepped back from more esoteric spiritual ideas to focus on taking action that could yield concrete results. Beuys was instrumental in helping launch the Green Party in Germany and even ran for office as a Green candidate, albeit unsuccessfully. But in 1982, he began perhaps the best known of his social sculptures, 7,000 Oaks. He debuted the project at the Documenta Festival in Kassel once again, this time by laying 7,000 basalt columns on the lawn of the Museum Fridericianum. The pile of columns was meant to evoke the immense destruction which Kassel suffered from Allied bombing during World War II, from which the city had yet to fully recover at that time. But from this pile, Beuys and his colleagues planted new hope. Each column in the pile corresponded to a tree sapling. Over the course of the next 5 years, Beuys and the people of Kassel would plant all 7,000 saplings, moving one of the basalt columns out of the pile to stand beside each new planted tree. Though Beuys himself died in 1986, his son carried on in his place, planting the final tree for 7,000 Oaks in 1987. And I find it sort of beautiful that the project continued even after Beuys' passing. Most of the trees Beuys and his team planted are still standing in Kassel today in 2025, providing shade and cleaner air for the city's residents. And 7,000 Oaks has inspired countless others to undertake plantings of their own. Just last year, in coordination with an exhibit on Beuys at the Broad Art Museum in Los Angeles, artists, along with leaders of the indigenous Tongva tribe, planted 100 trees in Elysian Park and 5 more at the Kuruvungana Village Springs. The project had the twin goals of healing the wounds of colonial oppression of indigenous people and healing the damaged environment in which we all live. It's a beautiful project, and one that does a far better job of honoring Beuys' legacy than a museum exhibit alone. And maybe hearing about 7,000 Oaks has planted a seed of an idea in your head as well. Whether it's planting a tree, helping to educate others, or maybe just being a good friend, we all have something positive we can do for our world. And remember, as Beuys said, everyone is an artist. I hope you all enjoyed this one as much as I did. Like I said at the beginning, Beuys is one of my favorite artists, so I'm thrilled to get to share his work here. Please remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.